Hey, what's up? Another episode. Man, your man's has been going through it. Going through it. And like most men, you gotta understand, suffering is life. And the past like five, maybe like actually week or so, I've been grinding, mounting TVs, putting things up, doing my electrical work, writing things. And I haven't taken a break. And I broke a great promise to myself. And that's why I want to talk about sticking to your rules and principles in life. See, I learned some very hard lessons over the last like week and a half. And the reason I had to learn these hard lessons is because I forgot about my foundation. I forgot about my principles and my rules I set for myself. See, as you get older as a man, maybe you didn't have a father, he didn't teach you certain things and principles and give you a foundation. So you gotta start to create these things for yourself. It's very important for three reasons. Reason number one, you need to stick to your rules and principles. As a man, you need structure in your life, and the only way to have structure is to have rules. If you don't have rules by which you operate with, you're going out there unstructured, and like anything that doesn't have a solid structure is bound to crumble at some point. Just like a building, just like a business, you yourself are a structure. You have to have a structure mentally by which you operate. If you don't do that, you're going to collapse. Thing number two that I'm going to go about is as you move forward in life, the universe is going to test you. It's going to give you different obstacles and challenges. And if you don't adhere to your rules and principles, you will pay a price. It's inevitable. You're going to pay a price. So even though something might look good at the moment, does it abide by your rules and structures and the principles by which you govern your life? If it does not, don't do it. Take some time, sit back, analyze, and once you're able to analyze and realize, at that point, you can choose to move forward because the universe is a great way of granting you new things if you follow your structures and rules. And number three, the thing we're going to talk about is never break your rules for nobody or anything. I'm going to go very in depth about that one. So let's talk about number one. Manhood requires principles and rules to be effective. See, rules and principles are what govern our society and our culture. And when you don't adhere by the rules and the principles by which you choose to govern yourself by, bad things typically happen because things get out of chaos. Like life is naturally chaotic as it is. Because the universe is in a constant state of change and entropy, which means it's always degrading into a more loose structure. So just by nature, things decay and get old and they start to break down. Now you can stop, not stop it completely, but you can slow down the process of things breaking down if you provide rules and structures by how you go about. See, things are going to break down inevitably. There's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be dilemmas. There's always going to be things that are going to go bad. But you can catch a lot of those things before they happen if you follow your rules and structures. So you need to understand. This is why it's so valuable. I'm going to give you guys a life lesson, things I learned today. The past week, I took some jobs that I probably should not have took. They went against my rules and principles. One of the things I did is I undercut myself. And I went to go see a job without looking at it. And I just gave a quote, not really seeing and analyzing the situation. Now, if I would have sat and really analyzed the situation, I would have realized, holy shit, this is much more complicated and bigger than I ever expected. I should have took some time and sat down and really think about it. But I didn't take my first rule, which is always see before you quote. Don't give quotes before you see, and talk to the person to get a real fine detail of what they're looking at before you go out, so you don't waste your time and money and energy. And I wasted a lot of time and money and energy going through some things that I did not sit there and look at. And it cost me, but I followed my rules. As soon as I realized this is something I can't do, I shut it down. I say, you know what, I'm not going to power through and try to beat this. You got to learn how to cut your losses. That's one of the rules I have. Cut your losses when you realize the battle can't be won. Don't fight for no reason, because it doesn't do anything for you. All it does is cost you. You only fight battles that you know you can win, that you know you can execute. And as you get better, you begin to, and if you have a bigger challenge, you need to be compensated as such. And that's one of the rules that I've recently just added to my life is charge a premium. So that way you're happy while you're on the job and you're not pressed for time, because now you're looking at it like, okay, I can really take my time because I'm well taken care of on the back end and on the front end before I do said job. And this is very important, people. You got to understand. Stick to your rules and principles. This comes with women and everything. Have principles and rules. And if you don't know anything, I'm going to write a book for you guys, some basic manhood principles and rules you should probably follow to help you establish your life and become a better man. That's what this game is about. It's all about becoming a better man, because when better men are around, we have a better community. And a better community means better people and better households and a better world. So really take time to sit down and really think about yourself. Provide some structure in your brain, because it's going to save you so much time in the long run. Don't just go around chasing things. Let things be attracted to you. And it comes to my second point. Second point is, in life, as you move forward, the universe will test you. And these tests, just like anything else, you have to have principles and things you know. So if you're doing an algebra test, you need to actually know the rules and principles of algebra. So if you know the rules and principles of how algebra works, you never have to worry about failing a test, because you understand how to do the PINMA, which is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. You know PINMAs. So you know if I follow by this rules and principle of PINMAs, algebra will never be a problem for me. All I got to do is simply work through it. But if you don't know the principles, then you're basically looking at Scrabble and you're going to punish yourself because you didn't follow the rules and principles. And see, when you adhere to your code and you adhere to the principles and rules that you set for your life, the universe rewards you. The universe is going to test you and tempt you. Maybe that hot girl that's been throwing you things, but you realize she's not good for you because she has a couple red flags. If you ignore those red flags, you deserve all the bad that's going to come that way to you. And that's on you. You can't get mad at anybody else because you chose to ignore things. And that's one of the things. That's why red flags and things like that are important. Adhere to your principles, man. If you adhere to the principles, trust me, there's always going to be a better opportunity on the other side of the fence. But you're going to cost yourself an opportunity by just running into things at the first sight when they look too good. Always sit down and do some delegation, do some research, and really acknowledge and see what you're dealing with before you get into it. Because you don't want to get into things that you don't really want to do. Like, and this is how a lot of people get into the drug game and get deep into gang ties and things like that in violent lives, because they saw the flashy objects. They saw the shiny shoes. They saw a bunch of the money. They saw a bunch of shit that appeased them right up the front. But it's always a trap. You got to understand, a lot of things that you do is always a trap. Don't ever let anybody lowball you or gas you up with bullshit to be able to get you to go past, to ignore your rules and principles, because that's a slippery slope. Because one day they give you some free stuff, and the next day now you're losing a kidney because now you owe this loan shark $10,000 because he's charging $10,000 worth of principal every fucking month. So really acknowledge and examine what you're going to do before you do it. It's so critical. I really want young men to understand your life is valuable. You are valuable. You mean something to this goddamn planet. You're destined to be something great. You're a man. And it's up to you as a man to take on your duty and responsibilities and to be a well-abiding citizen that helps others. And the only way you can do that is if you have structure in your mind and you follow those rules and principles with your actions. That's why vision and focus is so important, because if you don't follow your vision and your focus, you're going to fucking fall off. And you're going to get run around in circles and end up in the same spot in a worse position as you're older and less wise. And the last thing I want to talk about is never break your rules for nobody or anything. And understand, opportunity will always present itself to those who choose to live in the righteous path and use their logic. And that what the righteous path is mainly just you using logic, using foresight. Don't just rush. Like today, I had to really sit down because I made some pretty stupid mistakes. And you know what? I said, fuck all my jobs, fuck everything else. I'm going to sit down in my bed and just think for an hour or two. And I sat down in my bed, and I just looked in the sky, looking at the ceiling, and I thought, and I revisited things, and all my anxiety went away. I sat in silence, and I was just like, hey, I'm happy now. Because I realized it wasn't that bad. Now, it was going to get bad if I kept digging into the hole, trying to fight to get to this thing that was never going to work out in the first place, and now I was going to be mad at myself because I fucking punished myself to try to do this. But when I realized, no, once you realize you made a mistake, stop doing it. Stop. stop. And so many men keep thinking they have to go down that hole. And I really want to tell you guys, like, really look at the people that you associate yourself with and who you speak with and who you talk with. This is critical. Because if you're not really sinking inventory and you're not adhering to these rules, you will suffer. And understand, life is suffering. So you have to choose your suffering. You're going to be suffering through your own choices and rules and principles, because it requires discipline, because it's going to be suffering. Like if you want to have a nice physique, you want to look good and ripped and in shape, you got to suffer a little bit. You got to work out, train, put yourself in stressful, strenuous activities to build yourself into a body where you can be able to look that way. But if you choose not to live a structure and follow by your rules, eat whatever you want to do, don't work out, don't train, be inconsistent in all things, you're going to suffer with a fat, disgusting body with diabetes and all types of diseases that are going to make you suffer worse, because it's not a suffering your choice. It's the universe punishing you. And see, the universe is very harsh. The world is very cruel. And I think it's a good thing, because that cruelty makes you have a stronger mind. And when you have a stronger mind, you can do better to build better for other people. And when you understand that, you see the beauty of the suffer. So choose your suffering. Suffer by your own rules and defects. Suffer by your own rules and principle. Be hard on yourself, but be forgiving. Understand you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay to make mistakes. Because as long as you're not killing people or doing horrendous crimes, it's going to be all right. You'll forgive yourself because you didn't know any better. And if you do know better, do better. And that's why I try to educate people. I try to promote these manhood principles because I want you to know better. See, I can't help you if you don't know any better, but once you know better, it's a choice. And then when you know it's a choice, then you should feel the suffering of making bad choices. And I think this has been lost in the West, is that men don't feel the suffering of bad choices. They just think it's okay because everybody's saying it's all good on the internet. And so I'm just here to be a voice of reason and logic and a man of light, to be a beacon for others to help you grow and become a better man. So once again, stick to your rules and principles. Number 1, manhood requires principles and rules to be effective. Number 2, as you move forward in life, the universe is going to test you, and your rules and your principles are going to be what's going to guide you. Follow them. Stick to them, no matter what. Even in the face of Armageddon, do not compromise on your rules and principles. In the words of Rorschach from Watchmen. And last, never break your rules or principles for anybody, anything, because you have value. And once you start to lose the value of what you put in your mind, it's a slippery slope to hell. And I don't want to see you guys suffer. So I appreciate you guys listening. Talk to you soon.